Hi, everyone. I watched an excellent horror movie the other night. It was made in 1963 and it was a period piece, I guess perhaps 18th century, when they had the horse and buggy and no electricity. Anyway, what I like about this movie is that it's true to life, yet it's not completely true to life, but it's more true to life than most. And the movie is called The Diary of a Madman with Vincent Price. What stood out and kept me riveted to it is that it was very much like what I personally experienced. And I'm going back now to the mid-70s, 74, 75, 76, because everything stopped when I got born again on March the 29th, 1977. All this supernatural stuff like this stopped. But the movie is about a judge who's called a magistrate back then. And it involved someone who was sentenced to death for murdering 4 people. And this man said he was taken over by a spirit. I think they call the spirit Golob or something like that. Was taken over by a spirit that used his body and took over his will and forced him to kill these perfect strangers. And I know that's right. I know it's possible. So because I know that's possible, that is what got me interested in this movie. Now, surely it was theatric, and Vincent Price, who is the magistrate, when the guillotine, when this man died, I'm not going to tell the whole movie in case you want to see it, but I'm just going to say that the spirit took over the magistrate, the judge, Vincent Price. And the reasons why this happened were excellent reasons as to why Vincent Price was vulnerable to this. The whole concept of the enemy having to take your will, that was right on. The way this spirit was like what the occultists call a walk-in. You know, it bust open the door and walked in, but you couldn't see it. And you never saw it in the movie. All you did was hear its voice and see the various objects around Vincent Price move about. And I said, this is a good movie. The only place where it messed up was at the end. At the end, it portrayed the Golab as having been destroyed by fire that Vincent Price set before he himself died in the flames. But that's the problem with that. Because these spirits don't die. They don't no longer exist. These walk-ins, these fallen angels, they back up. They back up based upon the strength of your willpower and the amount of truth that you have received. They back up. They can't be cast out because they are not in the individual long enough to be cast out. So that's why they're called a walk-in. They walk in and they step out. Now, it was pretty much exaggerated, but it was based on the truth, because I had this kind of thing happen to me. I did not hear a voice but a few times, but what I was doing was communicating with the spirits, first through Ouija board, then through automatic writing, whereby you hold the pen and the spirit moves the pen and writes down on paper what they want to communicate to you. And I've seen this kind of thing happen. I was looking for my keys one day, and the spirits wrote to me, "Sit down, I'll bring them to you." And I sat there, I kind of dazed, I kind of looked up, and those keys were hanging 6 inches from below the ceiling, just standing there. Now, I'm not talking about a dream. I'm not talking about an altered state of consciousness. I am wide awake and conscious, and I see these keys standing there in midair, like somebody invisible is holding them, and then thrown down to the ground, like somebody threw them at me. Okay? And there were plenty of instances like that, I don't know, I think I wrote about some of them in my books. Others I didn't, because I don't focus and concentrate on that. But my point is that some of these movies, even though it's exaggerated, it's based on the truth. And if you want to get rid of a walk-in, then you're going to have to build up your free will. I'm recalling a client that I had that by the time she got to me, she could not read a Bible, a hardcover Bible, a big one, because the demon, the walk-in with her, would use her hand and bash herself in the head with the hard-covered Bible. This stuff is real, and only Jesus Christ of Nazareth and the power of his name and his blood can contend with it. What you have to do at all times is avoid the altered state of consciousness, avoid and have nothing to do with any occult practice like yoga, meditation, transcendental meditation, Reiki, crystals, none of that stuff. Because once you do it, you have opened yourself up to a walk-in, and only Christ can walk them suckers away. He did it for me. I liked my spirits. I used to sit down and call on them. And the day I got born again, after that, when I tried to call on them, they couldn't come. They were gone. By the power of me getting born again, they were gone. Gone. with the wind of the Holy Ghost.